Okay, welcome. Definitely the first time I've said this. Welcome to the TMV class of how to use Util and not be stupid. I'm TMV, as you probably, hopefully already know. Basically, what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at a couple of VODs. We're going to take a look. I've decided to have a pretty big range because, of course, I didn't know what rank you guys would be and how good you'd be. So we're going to take a look at a pro game and we're going to take a look at a silver game. And hopefully, I'm assuming that most of you will lie in between that. But then you can kind of tailor, each end of the spectrum, to kind of wherever you might be in the game. But the first thing we're going to talk about is not actually anything to do with util and is more kind of a more general thing, which is about VOD reviewing. Because VOD reviewing is something that I'm sure, a decent amount of you do. You maybe don't do it enough. And you probably don't do it correctly because I don't think that most pros do it correctly. Um, and the reason that I say that is because they aren't specific. Now, what I mean by specific is that if you're just VOD reviewing and watching a VOD and kind of writing down all the things that you think is bad and all the things that you think are good, that's not how you should VOD review. I know that that sounds strange, but you have to be specific. And what I mean by specific is when you're doing a VOD review, don't VOD review everything. Don't, write down every little detail that you can about whatever's going on. Focus on a topic, be it whatever, right? It could be, your crosshair placement, it could be movement, utility, game sense, team play, whatever it is, pick something, a kind of fundamental part of Valorant and only focus on that. Do not focus on everything, focus on one thing. Because when you write down everything, the purpose of a VOD review is to understand, what is actually going on, right? And if you, in a game like Valorant, try and VOD review everything, you're gonna miss almost everything. You have to be specific because otherwise you're not actually gonna know what's wrong, right? And particularly, as I assume most of you in here, are trying to get, pretty decent at the game. You're actually pretty serious about, getting pretty good. You're going to need to be more and more specific the further up you go, right? As I say, we're going to take a look at a pro VOD. We're going to take a look at a silver VOD, right? When we look at the silver VOD, we're going to be talking, very like basic general things that I'm sure all of you could watch that VOD and be like, yeah, that's obvious, right? But as you go more and more up the ladder, essentially, you need to start getting really, really specific. And you're not going to do that by just watching a normal like VOD and just being like, oh yeah, my aim was bad here and my, util was good this time. Like that, you're just not going to actually like get specific enough to know like, hey, when I'm playing Yoru on split, I'm only using my fake out 4 out of 12 attacking rounds, so I need to find areas or lineups or ways of using that fake out to be more effective throughout the 12 rounds of the half, right? Like that's the kind of like level of detail, and then going into split attack side and being like, this is a good fake out for a Yoru clone because it's gonna go here and it's gonna hit this cipher trip. Like this is the level that if you really want to be good, right? Like you're gonna need to be at that level. And obviously you'll probably be I guess a mix of ranks, so you don't have to be that specific. If you're not at the very top end, it might be more general the further down you go. But at some point, you're gonna have to be more specific, and just understanding it is gonna be better for you, right? So today we're gonna focus on util, right? And another thing about VOD reviewing is that a lot of people say like or feel like VOD reviewing is boring, right? You've already played the game, you know what fucking happens. It's boring, right? Like you understand that it's important, you need to understand where you need to improve, sure, whatever, but it's boring, so people don't like doing it. Well, hopefully I'm going to show you today as well that when you're only focusing on one thing, you can fucking fly through this thing, right? You don't need to like watch every small little detail when you're only focusing on one area. Because if you're only focusing on one area, you can really fucking go and get through this thing, and it's not that boring, because you're not spending that much time on it, right? That's hopefully what we'll be able to show today as well. So let's start with this game then. So this is Pacific versus Job Life. We are going to focus on LaRock here, who's playing for Pacific. They almost won EMEA Ascension, and he's playing Phoenix. And the reason I picked this VOD was because they played this Phoenix once. I thought it was dog shit, and so I thought I would just show you this game because it really annoyed me when I watched it and I noticed it live. And yeah, they didn't play Phoenix again because it was shit. But let's just watch this Phoenix VOD. And as I say, we're only going to focus on Util, right? Everything else about this VOD that we could go into, and obviously if you were doing this from like a team perspective, right, obviously you could focus more on like the whole team kind of sense, but we're just going to focus on as if we are the Rock watching this VOD, and let's say that we do want to play Phoenix on our next game. Well, what do we need to, what went so bad in this game? Even though they do win this game, what went so bad? So let's just take a look at it, and I'll talk about, how we can breeze through the VOD. Phoenix is over towards A here. So he's not going to be using any fucking Util, and we're only worried about Util. So fuck it, we can skip through here. We know he's not using any Util on the other side of the map. It just wouldn't make any sense, right? So now he's in position here. Doesn't look like they're going to come, so we could just skip through. And this is what I mean, like, it doesn't have to take you all day, right? Of course he's not using any Util here because no one's fucking around him, right? And this is how we can just get through this thing much quicker than, like, oh, I have to VOD review and focus on every little detail. Well, not when you're being specific with things. When you're being specific, you can focus on the parts that matter, like now, right? So right now, you see LaRock, he gets a 3K. Does he actually use his Util here, though? Is that my fucking...
Hello, chat.
Was that one of you, or was that just... I don't know if any of you could hear that. My OBS just kind of went off there, one of my Twitch alerts. That was very strange. Anyway, what's going to happen here is he's not going to use any Util, right? And so, okay, he gets 3 kills. It's fair enough. You can still see he has both his Molly and his Flash here. He gets 3 kills, right? So, okay, he didn't use his Util. He got the 3 kills. You're not going to complain too much, right? Second round. Again, same thing, right? He's over towards A. He's going to be rotating. He's not going to be using any Util. We can get through this thing, right? Let's just keep going, right? We know he's not going to use any Util. Okay, finally, in they start to come. Oh, they're all dead anyway, right? He's going to use a couple flashes here, but it's the second round. The round's already over. We all know that at this point, right? Okay, nice flash, cool, good for you, right? Let's get to the actual stuff though, and this is what I mean. Look at how quick we can get through these things. Once we're there, right? So, okay, here we go. They're coming towards A. He's actually on our side of the map this time. We've got full Util kit. How are we going to use it? We're trapped in behind this box. What's going to happen? We get a kill, but we get suppressed. We die. Okay, again, in this round, obviously, we didn't really get the chance to use any Util, you would say. But now we're already starting to see a little theme of, we aren't really using that much Util. Let's just keep that in the back of our minds, right? And this is kind of the first thing that you might start to notice. Are we using our Util here, right? Same thing again, right? We're just waiting here. First of all, gun round here. Here's this Phoenix. Again, we're just tucked in this corner. We're on the wrong side of the map. In comes the exec. How's it go? Okay, we go 2 for 2. Okay, 3v3. We got full Phoenix Util kit. We're 1 off ult. This is potentially a big chance here, to make a big difference with our Util. And again, we're just focusing on one thing. So what's going to happen? Well, let's see what he does. He's in heaven here. We've got full kit of Util. Flash comes out. Self-flash, dead. Fuck me. Holy shit, that's bad. Right, and then we can go back, right? So in the other 3 rounds, we didn't really see like too much of a chance. So, things didn't go away. We didn't use it, whatever, right? We've got full Util here as a Phoenix 3v3 retake on A. This is unacceptable, right? There must be better things. And I know that already most of you are thinking, yeah, obviously you can do a fucking Molly lineup. You can use the wall to get out. You could use a flash better than you did, right? All of these things, and this is the kind of notes that you'd be taking, right? Like round 4 here, 3v3 retake. I didn't do this. I need to know this. I should know a Molly lineup for this situation, right? Like these are situations that you should be able to kind of, figure these kind of things out. But instead, we just kind of end up, team flashing, self-flashing, horrible, dead, awful. Our Util is killing us rather than them. We go next, right? So not a great start. Right, let's take a look at this very next round. So this round, right, we're coming in with our ult. We've got an ult and a guardian, and our Jet has an op. We basically have 2 win conditions this round. It's the op, and it's us with our ult. Right, so what do? Again, we got full kit of Util here. Let's see what we do as the Phoenix. And again, we could play this a bit faster if nothing is happening. We can get through this thing, right? Looks like it's pretty passive here from Job Life. We end up just walking out on our own into an outlaw. Not great. Not great, right? Full kit of Util. We've got our ult as well. We're the win condition. We're walking out on our own. Not ideal. I know it's an eco, but these ecos are winnable. I hate when people say it's only an eco. It's fucking Valorant. You can definitely win ecos in this game. Okay, next round. Round number 6. So let's see, what are we going to do here? It looks like we got a little setup with the Omen here, and we're actually holding our molly. Okay, so we're going for a little set play. Can't remember who did this first last season. I think Gentle Mates, off the top of my head, in the last Ascension tournament in 2023, actually did this setup and got a couple kills with it. So we're going for this set play. Nice little Phoenix molly, right? Nice flash around the corner. Okay, doesn't get a kill. So now we're looking at this. Okay, we're doing this set play. Is there a better way we can do this set play? Right? Because we found, you know, some value. We forced the Omen out there, right? But we didn't manage to get a kill. Is there a better way we can do it? It seems like we're going off this jet spamming, which doesn't seem like a terrible idea. We got the KO knife in here as well. So we feel like this is their normal A default. So I don't blame them too much for this. I think this is, you know, perfectly fine. Maybe, you know, this Omen isn't feeling enough pressure. You know, if your Omen is already on this angle, you know, because you want this flash to actually like fully hit people, right? So maybe they do it a little bit too early, but I'm not going to blame them too much. And hey, this is the first time. Is this the first time we've used the molly? Maybe. This is a free ability, right? That's your signature ability. This is the first time we've used it. You get that for free every round. I'm not breaking news here to you guys. You get that for free every single round. So who are you saving it for? What? Use it. Signature abilities we should be using. It should be fucking out. It should, like, every round, it should be out there. I think we're round 6. It's round 6. We're halfway through the first half, and we've used it once. Like, that's just not good enough. It's not good enough, right? Our Roman ends up dying there. Okay, now let's see what we do. Again, we've still got a lot of util here. You know, we've got an ult to play off as well. We've put ourselves into a difficult position, I would say, here, because we don't have any help over towards short either. If you look over towards the map, and I think eventually they do come and do an A split here, as you can see. Nice little call with the smoke up here as well. So, you know, that's kind of confusing us. We don't really know what to think. We end up in a bad spot. And again, we're going to end up getting, you know, well, actually, we don't get a kill. Our jet gets the kills instead. And we end up dying with util in hand again, right? And this is, you know, crucial round. Look at our eco here. You know, 750, 550, 350. It's round 6. You cannot fucking die in this round without ulting. You must use it here, right? It's round 6. We need to get more ults online, right? When we're playing Phoenix, you're looking at 3 ults a half, you know, at least, right? Minimum, you want 3 ults a half. This is a crucial swing gun round. You must use it. You must. You simply must find a way to use an ult in this situation, right? 1, to get more ults in the half, but 2, because it's a crucial fucking round. And it's a Phoenix ult, right? Find a way to use it. We don't end up using it. We end up dying, and, well, it gets a bit messy here. I think they actually end up losing this round. They lose this round. They lose this fucking round. Unbelievable. I'll just skip ahead for you, but they are going to lose this round. Holy shit. Yeah, Kamek. Kamek with a 4K. Crucial round. Cannot lose. Now we're on a terrible eco. It's just, like... And we take a timeout, and I'm not surprised. I'd be fuming if I was a coach. But this is what I mean, right? So we had a set play at the start of that round, but we've got to find whether it's, you know, integrating the Phoenix ult into the set play or whatever it is, or not putting ourselves in kind of a one and done when we've got Phoenix ult, right? We didn't have to put ourselves into that kind of, you know, very aggressive tucked up position. We didn't have to, where we are never going to ult from. Like, that's tough. You know, that's tough. Next round starts off slow again. And this is what I mean. VOD review, fucking, you know, doesn't have to be super long. We can just skip through to when it matters. So, round number 7. Still got this ult. Again, it's kind of like clock's ticking. Got to use it at some point. They're going to go for this exec. We're getting KO ulted. So again, they've KO ulted us here. We can't ult. So again, this ult is going to go another round. And Lorok, you know, he's doing a decent job here, you know, of sticking it down and holding down the back sight. Yeah, great job. But again, we're costing ourselves here the opportunity, because now we're getting to the point where, you know, it's round 8. If we don't find a way to use this ult this round, we might only get 1 ult in a defensive half as Phoenix. 6 cost ult. Very good ult. You know, and as I was saying, like, if we find a way of using the ult, you know, round 5, round 6, we're already halfway to another one. You know, it's just about being efficient. So even if that first ult that you use isn't the best ult in the world, it doesn't fucking matter. Because you're getting extra value from using that ult earlier just by the very fact that you'll have another ult, right? So that is giving you value anyway later on in the half, right? Even if the ult that you use initially isn't amazing. right? So again, we can just skip through some stuff here, right? In we go for this Phoenix. Oh, we ult. Look, right? Okay, so they're doing an A exec. We're gonna ult. We finally pop it. We're going aggressive for a kill. Our Killjoy is shutting the door as we're trying to ult and get it really aggressive. So a bit of a team miscommunication, and then we die. So what util have we died with here? Right, we got Blaze Wolf, another flash. We got a Molly again, right? And in this situation here, they're doing an A split. How do you still have Molly in hand? Right? After you've come out this ult and come out heaven, why aren't you just throwing this somewhere? Anywhere. Like, literally fucking throw it anywhere. Right? And it doesn't matter. You know that these guys are here as well. You know that this Killjoy is getting pushed. You've just seen them. Right? Just throw this Molly. Instead, you just die. Like, again, and you could do this from, you know, anywhere back here after you've come out of your ult. Get a Molly into a main, you know, just, I mean, literally throw it anywhere because you can run on it, right? And it will heal you if you get hit. Instead, you die. Don't use util. So again, we've had so many rounds at this point of where we've used maybe one ability. Maybe one. Okay, this next one, again, they're on the other side of the map. Let's see what happens. And of course, I'm saying, you know, use your util every round, whatever. You're not going to get the chance to use util every round, right? Sometimes the rounds will end. All your teammates will die, or your teammates will kill them, right? You won't be able to use it every single round. Here we go. A retake. 4v4, or 4v3, sorry. We've got a full kit of util again. Let's see what we're doing. We get our Killjoy lockdown in. Okay, that's fine. We get 4v2. Unlosable. Should be unlosable, right? I'm pretty sure they do win this round, don't worry. But, you know, let's see how it goes. Oh, in danger. Okay, we use the Molly here, right? So we're finally, yay, we used some util. I think we also used both flashes. We used our wall as well. You can see the wall here across heaven. Am I crazy that this is a strange wall when we've had a Killjoy lockdown there? I think that one's a little strange, I'm not going to lie. Seems a bit on autopilot maybe, not fully considering like, hey, those people in hell, they're just going to get detained. You know, they're not going to be doing much this round. You know, so maybe not the best use of the wall. If we didn't have this Killjoy lockdown, you know, this wall is good. This is what we should have done before, and I don't know why we didn't. You know, I don't know. You know, Molly A main here, yeah, that's good. You know, flashing around these corners, sure, whatever. Even if it doesn't hit anyone, right? Just the fact that at least we're using it, right? I mean, that's the bare minimum, right? Let's not even talk about do we get value from it. At least we're fucking using these abilities. Okay, next one. We're going to get this, right, so let's talk about this one as well, because this one annoyed me a bit. So you're playing Phoenix here, right? Phoenix, flash, good. We understand this. They're going to Killjoy Molly down here. This turret is your go signal, right? If you wanted to play Phoenix, and this again just feels to me like this is a jet player. You know, this is a jet player angle, but you're playing Phoenix, right? A Phoenix angle is here. Turret goes shoot, 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 and you flash, and you kill them, right? This... you're just playing jet, right? And again, this turret is your kind of go signal for when you should be flashing. Instead, you're just solo challenging them, right? Like, just doesn't feel very Phoenix mastery. You know, it feels like I'm a jet player in a different body. And in fact, ends up getting this kill in B main on this Killjoy. Doesn't use any util for it. I mean, Laroc's just different, right? So it doesn't need the util. But again, if we're talking about playing Phoenix at a high level, that's not it, right? Like, that's not it. And as we run this round forward, I'm pretty sure they're just trying aggro on this jet. And Laroc gets another kill. He did use a flash. Okay, he did use a flash somewhere down here. Obviously, we don't really get to see it. Thanks for the VOD replayer, Riot. Anytime. Would help for this particular exercise. But of course, when you guys are doing your own, you'll have your own VODs. And that's what we'll look at with the second one as well. This next round, again, on the other side of the map. Here comes your boy Laroc. He's coming out of smoke. He flashes. Oh my goodness me. But again, we're not here for the aim. We're here for the flash. The flash is good. Now, we didn't have ult, I'm pretty sure. If he had ult here, this is going to be... I'm gonna lose my mind. No, he didn't have ult. He got the ult off this first kill, so that's fine. But again, you know... woof. Not ideal there with the aim. But again, we're not here for the aim. And this is the thing. You will naturally pick up, of course, when you're doing this, you'll naturally pick up like, oh, I lost quite a lot of gunfights, or I won a lot of gunfights, right? Whatever it is, if you were doing this for utility, you know, you'll just subconsciously take that in anyway, which is good because it means when you then go to do a VOD review of your aim or, your crosshair placement, whatever, you'll then have this in the back of your mind as like a little bit. You weren't focusing on it, but just subconsciously you'll take some of the kind of, big parts of it out anyway. Okay, anyway, next round. They're coming in here. Hey, it's last round, round 12, so, use your ult. We do use the ult. We die. Again, we're getting KO ulted, so we can't really use anything else. This is a couple times we've been kind of, cucked by this KO, essentially. Not ideal. Now let's see our B retake, though. We still got ult, we still got wall, we still got, Molly, we still got the flash in here as well. And what are we going to do? I'm pretty sure we only use this flash. Right, so yeah, we just flash around this corner. We do manage to get a kill. It gets traded. Again, so when we're looking at this, you're thinking, is there no way we can use the wall? Is there no way we can use a molly, right, as we end the half? So, and this is what I would say to do, right? Take a half and like pause at the half, right? Pause at the half and have a think about what you've just seen. What I've just seen is someone who's barely using their util, right? A player who definitely needs more setups, right? We had one kind of aggressive, proactive setup playing double duelist with a Phoenix. Why? Why are you playing Phoenix if you're only going to have one? Why are you playing double duelist if you're only going to have one proactive setup in the entire fucking half? Like, what's the point, right? Play something else. Play KO is good on this map. Everyone knows that. Play KO. If you're going to do that, just play fucking KO. It doesn't make any sense, right? But also, if we are going to play Phoenix, you gotta have, like, those retakes. You should have either post-plant denial or, be it a retake. There should be molly lineups in there, right? There should be, this molly is landing on this box at this time. I know the lineup. I know the timing. I know it all, right? And I think this is a good example of a VOD of, like, even pro players. LaRock is a very good player. Don't let me try and convince you that LaRock is shit, because if you watched any of EME Ascension, you'll know that's not true. LaRock is fucking insane. And he will be in Tier 1 when he's old enough, and he will fucking farm Tier 1. But right there, you just saw, like, this is a VOD of a pro player who clearly has almost no fucking clue what they're doing. Right? Like, literally almost no clue what they're doing. It seems like we're just purely reacting. Right? There is no kind of plan of what we need to do. So if I was, coaching this team and it's like, hey, we're sticking with Phoenix, we believe in Phoenix. There's a Phoenix buff coming, right? We would say, like, we need to, really focus on, where we're using this util, areas to use this util, be more proactive, using ults, finding, ult setups for us as well, because we can't be holding a Phoenix ult for like 3 rounds. That is a crime. You cannot do that. Like, Phoenix ult should be out. Like, first gun round that you have Phoenix ult, fucking use it, right? Because I want a second ult, and I want a third, and maybe a fourth in a half. That's how you need to be thinking about that kind of stuff. So yeah, it just goes to show that, like, you can take a look at these VODs and sometimes you will find something like this where it's like, obviously this isn't working. And if you watch a decent portion of pros playing Vice right now, you'll see similar sort of shit where it's just like, they just don't have the knowledge. They just don't have the setups. Gecko was the worst, I think, for this. When Gecko first came out, fuck me, it was bad. If any of you watch my videos about that, you'll know what I mean. But fucking hell. The pros were not good at this. Right, this round, I'm going to be real with you, the VOD is fucked up. It pauses here at 102, and then just skips to this part, and that's when LaRock uses all their utils. So I don't know what happened in that round, I'll be honest, because they never show it. They won the round, though, did Pacific, so let's just come to the next one. Okay, this one. Right. I did not get out on purpose. This one. Little pro tip, this isn't about util, but just a little pro tip here. If you're going to farm an ult orb, don't have the guy holding you be the one guy with a ghost. That's just a TMV pro tip for you there. Great shot, but, little pro tip. But again, if we're just doing this VOD review, this is what I mean. VOD review, we can skip. When we're not alive, skip, right? Next round. Okay. So, again, we got a rifle this round. We got full Phoenix util. Looks like we're going to go for an A split. Let's see how they do it. So, we get a flash in there, right? We get a Phoenix molly in here. This is quite nice. And now let's see what we do. So, okay, this is so far so good, right? But then we die. Now, here's the thing. Do we use this flash? You kind of see that the Phoenix seems to go for a flash there, but this flash, it still says it's up on the UI. Maybe the UI is wrong. Maybe this is not Larocque's fault. I don't know. Either way, what we can do is take a look at this, though, and say, this is not using Phoenix to Phoenix's max capacity. The reason that I say that, of course, is Phoenix is the one agent where you can run into this molly, right? If you're playing Phoenix here and you've mollied a smoke, congratulations. You're playing the one agent that can very happily just run into your own molly because it doesn't damage you. It heals you, right? So this is kind of, again, like a Phoenix mastery thing of like, this is very specific to this one fucking agent that if this is any other molly on the ground, you would say, okay, no one is allowed in the smoke. But when it's your molly on the ground, you are allowed in the smoke, but no one else is. So instead here, Larocque, what I would say is, you've used that molly, you can go, you don't need to flash in this smoke. You can just fucking run into it because they're not going to be sitting on that smoke, right? Because it's mollied. So as long as you haven't fucked up the molly, you should be good. And you didn't fuck up the molly. Unlucky though, you died anyway. But again, bit of agent mastery there. The util that we used wasn't necessarily bad, but we could have potentially capitalized on it a bit more. And again, this is the kind of stuff where I feel like if you were just doing a general VOD review, there's kind of little details like that that you probably don't pick up on, of like that kind of, you know, little specifics of like, oh yeah, I can molly a smoke and then fucking run into it, right? It's like little details. You know, you can find stuff like that, and maybe that's not the perfect example, but you know, you can find a lot of shit like that when you just focus on, you know, one thing. Okay, so in this one, they came here towards A main and they used one flash. They tried to fake it with a little omen TP there backwards. So they're trying to fake like we got quite a bit of presence here. What annoyed me about this one, just on a team wide, is we're trying to fake presence with multiple players towards A, but then we just fucking do nothing, right? Like we just do nothing for the next like 30 seconds anyway, and eventually we get up here. You know, could we be more efficient there? Again, we're using a flash, you know, we're using an omen TP, but we're not really doing too much with it. Eventually, they are going to come in for this little B split here, as you can see. So in they come, slowly walking up. I quite like this, to be honest. They're going to really slowly just walk all the way up. But then you're going to see once we get there, oh my, you're going to wonder if this is a pro game or not. Because, again, just watch Larocque. We're going to flash. No, we're not. We're just going to fucking walk backwards into fucking two players. I have no idea what he was thinking. I genuinely have no idea. Again, this feels like very obvious. We don't know what we're doing on this exec, right? Like, we don't know what we're doing on this agent and you know, how we should be playing it, because I don't, did he start getting shot from the other side? I don't quite know, but either way, it's not a great look. Okay, tech pause. Let's get through this tech pause, shall we? So we got Killjoy staring at us right there. Tech pause. Okay, on to the next one. Now we're on an eco. We're one off ult here. What are we going to do? We've got a Marshall. We're just going to walk up with a Marshall. Again, I'd like to just point out that even if you're thinking, hey, it's an eco, you know, save your util, save the creds, you get one ability for free every round. I'm just going to point that out because we've seen it used maybe 3 rounds, but you get it for free. So there's really no downside to using it. But yeah, we still refuse to see it seems. Okay, now we're just going to go for a big A exec, it seems. So let's see. We're going to ult in. Cool. Let's see it. In we go. Again, we're getting suppressed. We are getting... This KO is absolutely destroying us. Okay, we basically trade the Killjoy util for our ult, and we get the sight. You know, it's not the best ult in the world, but it, you know, we got the sight. This next ult you're going to see from this Killjoy, though. Fuck me. In fact, do any of you know... Oh, well, I mean, I kind of give it away at this point, but yeah, look at this. I was going to ask if any of you knew what was about to happen, but yeah, that happened. We don't just want to chuck it either, though, right? It does heal. Look, I'm going to be real with you. I think the higher you go up in this game, healing matters less and less. The time to kill in this game is so small that the difference of healing most of the time won't matter. Is all I'll say. If you're healing from 81 to 100, you did nothing. We'll see what happens with regenerative armor when that comes out. But healing, I think a lot of the time, overrated. But either way, using it, the cost of like using it in this VOD, you can see like whatever balance you want to strike with how often you should be using it versus, you know, saving it for potential, you know, reason we might need to heal. Like, well, in this VOD, we never fucking used it. So we were never getting that chance to heal anyway. Now, here is another great example of where this exec all happens. And we got full, you know, this retake, sorry, all happens. We got full Phoenix kit here. Like, and we're starting to use it now. We're starting to flash. We're actually flashing out towards tree, I think, through a one-way for some reason. Don't know why. So we use both flashes, but again, though, like these abilities here, right? They're retaking. These can be used for this, right? Like you can wall something off, you can smoke something off, and they have to take damage if they come through. You can molly them off and stop them coming in. Now, what's amazing about this is, as I say this, you think like, oh, 3v1, they've won the round. You think that they're just gonna, oh, it's easy win, right? Yeah, about that. Good thing we didn't use our molly. Good point that you brought this up at exactly this point, because look at that. We used the molly. You know, and maybe we needed it. Maybe not, right? We still could have won this either way. It's, you know, it's not like we were guaranteed to lose if we didn't have the molly, but yeah, there's potential there, I think. I think in most situations, I would personally say, don't look at the result of this. You should win this 3v1 with no util anyway. Right? You shouldn't need util to win this 3v1. So that's like kind of a team problem. Like we shouldn't have to have a molly. And we probably could have found better chances to use it earlier. Right? Would be in most rounds, I would say you want to be using that earlier than we did. But it did end up saving it, did actually end up kind of mattering there, I suppose, in the end. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. I'm pretty sure in this one, we're not really going to use any util until we come back to B main. So, first one we're going to use here is a flash around this corner, which, you know, destroys this turret. Okay, whatever. This jet actually still gets a kill from that and kills the opposition, our jet here, so not great. But then this one, right? So now we're flashing around the corner of B main here as we're doing a B split. Couple things for me on this one, again, as our Phoenix then dies. So the flash here, right, round this corner, and I think they do it a bit later as well. I'm not a massive fan. I feel like this flash doesn't like do as much as you probably want it to do. It's not that it won't hit anyone necessarily. It will hit some people some of the time. But I feel like there are decent chances that you flash, and for instance, against like this op, you know, this op then, you know, takes that timing essentially, you know, to then come around and kill our Phoenix. I don't think it's the best flash. I also think newsflash, your jet is dead, right? Getting out of this choke point, difficult. No dive. Tough. What are we going to do? This ability goes through the window. You can use this like you will be able to with the new Phoenix wall. Send it through the fucking window and actually cut off some of these angles and get out of the choke point. Do we do that? No. No, we do not. Also, I would personally say as well, to me, the Phoenix flashes are probably a little better in mid here, like coming this way. Like, basically, I'm saying I would prefer the Phoenix to be kind of on the mid side of a B split rather than the B main side of a B split. That's maybe a bit of a nitpick, but I do think, and I think we are going to see it in the next couple of rounds as well. Like, the Phoenix flashes around that corner that the Sova just fucking randomly ran through for some reason, you know, are pretty good there. And often we'll get, you know, decent value from there. Anyway, our Phoenix is dead. Let's go to the next round. We take a timeout. Not happy. Let's see what we do next round. So this is round number 20. Let's see. And I think, yeah, in this one, we're going to see push up here into mid. Flash. This is amazing. Flash baits these two out of the smoke. Why they're not flashing, I don't know, right? Who knows what they're fucking doing. But we flash around this corner. This guy gets flashed. It makes them panic. They just run through the smoke with no util for some reason. Give us 2 free kills. We then ult. Holy shit. We then fucking get a free kill. Holy shit. But then, you might not have noticed this, we ulted from here. Which is not just going to cost our life, but also our jet's life. So again, we're just looking at like agent, like our initial plan probably came from the coach, I'm not going to lie, right? To do this. Great. literally worked perfectly. Could not have worked better. A tiny moment of like over exuberance, I would say, of not just taking the fucking 1 second to go around this corner instead, right? And then instead just ulting from the open, meaning that our jet basically has to just kind of sit here and wait because otherwise it's a free kill, right? But then our jet loses the gunfight. Nice play by their Sova. So yeah, even there where, you know, we do get a kill with the ult technically, and the flash initially was very nice, even so, you know, not an ideal outcome in the end. Okay, round number 21. Let's take a look at this one. So first one, we're just going to flash through this smoke here, right? So there's a smoke in A main. We're just going to flash through. We use our first flash. Okay, whatever. The Killjoy lockdown comes in. We're going to destroy it with the Sova ult here. Don't love Job Life's plan here, to be honest, of just kind of panic Killjoy lockdown into a Sova ult. Doesn't sound like a ton of value. Hey, we used a molly. Hey, hold on. It's gone. We used it. I'm going to guess we used it up towards heaven. Hey, we stopped them flooding out. We can do that? We can use this ability? And you might be like, oh, but they weren't ready to flood out. But we don't know that, right? So it's actually, we're finding some value here. Yay! Yay, we used an ability. Okay, now we're just going to get fucking KO ulted. And, you know, we've seen this KO just basically. this game has been a bit of an advert for KO is pretty good, huh? KO at high level turns out pretty fucking good. But again, we haven't really, you know, found a way to use this wall just yet. You know, we've used both flashes again, which is fine. But again, at this point, I don't think we're going to use any more util. We end up winning the round. We didn't really need it. But again, at least we fucking finally used the molly, right? It took us till round, what, 20, 22, 21 to realize that. But hey, you know, that's cool. It's better late than never. And I think speaking of better late than never, I'm pretty sure in this round, so we're just defaulting here. We end up getting the first couple kills. And then look, right, so we're in this fight in mid. We end up getting a couple kills here in mid. So Rose gets that kill. We get that kill there. We're now going to come back towards short. We're a little late here, but then we're going to molly off the smoke. We're going to use this molly. Oh, give it, wait. Oh, we're a little late because it's like, you know, we're like 5 seconds, 10 seconds after these kills have happened. So any trade that was coming out the smoke probably would have already come. So not great, but hey, at least we used it, right? If we were here, I would say this isn't a great use of it, but if we were here initially when this fight happened, mollying off this smoke just here, that's a good molly, right? When we used it, probably not, right? Because again, they probably would have come out of that smoke already had that happened, you know, had they been there. But okay, this is fine. And again, in we come. We're gonna do this flash. Again, you know, I would like to see some kind of wall on this B main exec. Let's see. 5v3. They should probably... do you save here? Tough one. We're going to use the wall. Oh, we're going to use the wall. There it is. Okay. At least we used it, right? At least we used it. Was it the most impactful ability in the world? No. But at least we fucking used it. And that's more than we can say for 99% of this game. Okay, next one here. Again, we're just skipping through, waiting for that util. Okay, here we go. We're going to go for a mid split. And this is what I was talking about, where I think the Phoenix is just a bit more valuable here in general. You know, using the wall, use the flash. Right, you see that we're getting good value. We're chaining the abilities together here and actually finding, you know, pretty decent value in this final round. So again, towards the end of the VOD, it seemed like we actually started to, you know, use the agent, essentially. You know, for most of this thing, as you can see, it seems like we didn't really use this thing, but let's see how we close this thing out. Did we use the molly as well? We did. So we must have mollied probably CT or maybe somewhere on site, but again, at least we're using it, right? That's all good. Great. We're using an ability that we get free for every round, and I'm pretty sure the game is going to end just here. So that was our attack side. So on attack, what would we say? Again, I would say we need more agent mastery, right? There are still a lot of moments in there where you're like, this doesn't look like someone who knows what they're doing on this agent, which it probably isn't, right? And again, you're thinking about things of, okay, we barely used the wall. We didn't use the molly that much either. Well, let's go back to the drawing board and think, well, where are the fucking good lineups and stuff that we can use a molly, right? Maybe as a part of our A exec, let's get a molly in towards tree, right? Maybe as like a threaten of a B, you know, kind of surge, let's do some kind of wall across B here in mid, right? At the top part of mid. Yeah, sure, cool. Now that Phoenix is changing, let's fucking, do walls all the place, because it's going to be a good ability now, right? Like, you can start thinking really about, like, okay, we didn't use this ability enough. Where can I find it? I'd also say we didn't see a ton of ults, right? We didn't see a ton of impactful ults. There was a couple in there, but my goal, when you've got a player who's as good as LaRock playing Phoenix, on attack side, where the ult orbs are pretty farmable, let's get 4. 4 is my goal if I'm playing attack side Phoenix on Ascent. And if that means, and this is the thing, right? It's funny that people, like, if you got a computer, if you got a supercomputer to play Valorant and said play Phoenix on Ascent, I guarantee every round it would go and get both ult orbs every single round, and you'd get like 7 ults in a half with one agent. Now, people are never going to do that because it's just not human nature, because it seems too repetitive and too boring. But you could. And it probably would be pretty good. But no one ever does. Like, people will farm one ult orb in a round. Pro teams have got pretty good at that. But you could potentially design your whole attack pretty much around, we're going to take both A and B main. We're going to have a couple players towards A main. We're going to have a couple players towards B main. We're going to take both those spaces. And we're going to fucking take both ult orbs every single fucking round. Plant the spike with Phoenix. Obviously, Phoenix can then get kills as well. And we're going to and as soon as we get an ult, we're going to pop it that round. And you really could play for that kind of min-maxing style. No one ever is going to, because, it's just not... it's, just not human nature. But, you can be thinking about these things in those kind of terms of, like, how far could you actually fucking push this thing? Especially with an agent like Phoenix. But hopefully you can see in this VOD that, like, that was not great, right? Like, even though it's a pro game, even though these players are insanely talented, you can look at that and be like, there is a lot you could improve on there, right? There is a fuck ton that you could do a lot better. And when you watch your VODs, hopefully, you will also see, like, okay, I can definitely do this better. And you can look at specific abilities, right? Whatever your main agent is, you can be like, I did, like, for that instance, we didn't use the molly in most rounds. We didn't use the wall in most rounds. Well, how come, let's fucking dive deep into the weeds of Ascent and go, well, where can we actually fucking use those abilities so that I'm using them, at least most of the time. Fair enough in some rounds where it's like everyone died straight away. The round was over straight away. Fair enough in those rounds. But in most Valorant rounds, that's not going to be the case. You're going to have a decent opportunity to use most abilities if you know what you are doing. So now we're going to watch this VOD. Right? And again, hopefully that also proved that, like, and I'm taking the time here, to explain stuff, and we're pausing and stuff as well. Like, it doesn't have to take, an hour and a half to VOD review when you do this. When you just focus on something, you can hopefully get through it fairly quick. Now we're going to move on to this game. So this... That was like, so if I find myself overusing Util, welcome to the club, my friend. That's the classic TMV. But that is a part of it as well, right? That's a part of it as well, of, finding that balance and realizing that's a mistake. But the thing is, this is why you VOD review, right? And this is why you get specific with VOD reviews, because you might think that that's a mistake. And this is, I know, particularly back in my old days of football coaching, which is what I did my degree in. People often think, especially with stuff like that, that's like really feels bad, right? It really feels bad when you get caught with Util in hand and you die. Things like that stick with people, but unless you really go back and take a look and like specifically VOD review, you might find that it doesn't happen as much as you actually think, right? It might only happen, once every couple of games. It's actually not that big of a deal, but it so feels bad that it really sticks with you. And that's why it's important to VOD review. I'm not saying that that is necessarily the case, but that can be the case, particularly with things that are like really, really like, like it just cause you a like surge of emotion. Those kind of things just naturally stick with us in our memory. So we kind of like overemphasize it. Like, I'm sure if we asked LaRock how he thought he played in that game, I'm sure he'd probably think about like what his KD was, right? And not the fact that he didn't use his fucking wall or molly, barely at all. I'm sure he didn't even, he probably didn't even notice. But anyway, now we're going to take a look. This is a silver VOD, okay? This is a silver player. I understand that most of you will be better than a silver player, and we don't need to go through like all the specifics of how they use their util and stuff like that because they're a silver player. This is in my Discord server, where people. So this is a mixed rank game, right? I think there's, to be fair to the silver player, they're not going to have a great game. They are in a lobby with like Ascendants and Immortals, so obviously they're not going to have a great game, but we can still, just take a look at what happens, or maybe I can. I don't know. Why did that happen? Don't know. Anyway, we can take a look at what happens here. Why did it just skip? Oh, I didn't even realize it went to 2-0. What just happened? YouTube, hello? Anyway, let's take a look. So we're playing Sage on Haven, right? Already, I would say tough, right? Not easy. And it's for reasons like this, right? And here's the thing with Sage, right? As opposed to almost every other agent, I talked about the signature ability of Phoenix, right? And how we want to be using it because it's free every round. Of course, Sage is perhaps the one agent where it's like, you might not get to use it, and it's not your fault because you can't. And that's partly why this agent is shit. But yeah, it is what it is. But here we go. Wall and heal, perfectly normal. Not much you can do, right? It is what it is. Again, when you're playing Sage in a kind of instance like this, it's like, well, when we're looking at it just from a util perspective, it's like, well, if our team can't get onto the site, I don't know what you want me to do, right, as a Sage. So again, we're thinking about this, in relative terms. Of course, we're not gonna. Don't worry, we'll see some funny shit by this Sage, of course, because they're a silver player, and so it's gonna be funny, particularly if you're a higher rank, to look at this and be like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, let's just keep going, because these first 2 rounds, nothing of note really happens. But if we were VOD reviewing, for this player, hey, they're getting aggressive out towards C. Okay, we weren't maybe there initially to use some kind of, slow orb or something like that. I think in just a second, though, we are just going to basically send a slow orb out, right? So again, things like this. But the thing is, you'll get even quite high rank players doing this a lot as well, which is, just fucking sending util. But why? What was that doing? Right? For who? For what? For why? Doing nothing. Now, there's something else in this round. It'll be interesting to see if any of you pick up on it. But something else in this round, util-wise, there is something that the Sage should definitely do in this round. For one very particular reason, and that'll be interesting to note if you guys can get it. We'll pause it at the end of the round to see if you noticed or not. But here we go. We heal the Jet. In we go again. We're going to plant the spike here, and we're gonna wall off. Okay, normal, typical Sage shit. We actually trap our breach there. Quite funny. But let's see. I'm pretty sure the round is just going to end right here. Yeah, we don't really get too much in there. So there's one specific thing that the Sage should have done. Does anyone know? Wall garage? Slow? See, there is. I mean, there's of course a lot of right answers for things that you could do. But I was actually going to say, when the Sage is back here, it's already happened. At this point, the Sage should have already done it. Yes, we got it. Self-heal because you are 80 HP. Yes, that is what the Sage should have done. Because the difference between 80 and 81 HP is a lot. And cutoffs of HP matter. And so if you find yourself like the Sage on exactly 80 HP, you should self-heal no matter what. I don't care. You should just look at that and be like, I'm self-healing. Because, of course, that's the difference between 2 and 3 Vandal body shots. And that matters, right? That absolutely matters, right? So, again, if we were on 81, don't heal yourself. Useless. Fucking useless. And this is the thing as well. Just because you've taken some damage doesn't mean you should heal. Because if you've only taken, to 81 HP, well, the difference of going up 19 HP to 100 is nothing, right? There are very, very, very small margins that maybe it will save you. But for the most part, it won't. But 80 to 81 is a big cutoff in this game. So that's kind of one of those, like, again, small detail things, right? And again, you know, for this sage that's a silver, probably doesn't fucking matter. But as we go up the ranks and, you know, get more specific, you know, these kind of small details, like, you need to be thinking about, like, okay, you know, those kind of things matter. Okay, this, by the way, from a silver sage, I was like, this is actually pretty good. You know, they stunned, they darted down here towards A, throw a slow down here. Good. Yeah, that's good, right? That sounds like, you know, it seems like they're trying to get aggressive. They actually do. The neon just pops up on the map there for a second. So they were trying to get aggressive down short. Send a slow down there. Good for you. Good for you, Sage. We're then going to come in and we're going to see kind of a common problem for this Sage in this VOD, you know, which is panicking a bit. Being a silver player, it's fine. It is what it is, right? But again, we would probably say here for this Sage, you know, for me, secure before you plant, right? Make sure you fucking have the site before you try and plant the spike, right? Pretty fucking obvious, right? But, you know, just using that Sage Util earlier, you know, important. We've also, you know, been holding on to a slow up here for a second. Also, that happens sometimes in the VOD. I don't know why. We got a little TMV Discord pause there as well. Let's go forward. And of course, Sage on attack side, right? Like, again, as I said, kind of on the pistol round, it's tough, right? There isn't a ton of ways you're necessarily going to use it. We're going to use a slow here. Probably a bit late, right? Like, a breach is already dead at this point. Hey, it's not necessarily a bad slow. This is a fucking crazy plant again. Wall first. It's a silver player, right? Like, whatever. Cool. What's funny is, as we go through this VOD, you're going to see that they do actually start, you know, using it. But again, if I was, you know, coaching this Sage, this silver Sage, like, when it came to LaRock, I'm looking at, like, very specifics, being, like, very, very hard on, like, hey, you're not using this. You need to find this specific ability to use in this specific spot, probably with your teammates, because you're a fucking pro player. You know, it's a pro game. Do something properly. When it comes to doing a silver Sage, that sounds wrong. When it comes to, you know, VOD reviewing, like, for a silver Sage, you're not going to be specific, right? You're not going to be like, hey, you need to fucking, like, you need to know this fucking lineup that goes across the map, you know, that lands in the perfect spot as your team is entering in onto the site, because that's not realistic, right? You're talking basic broad strokes. Now, most of you guys probably going to fall in the middle of this Sage and LaRock, right? So again, depending on where you are, depending what level you're at, don't be fucking too hard on yourself, right? Don't be like, I'm a plat player, but I need to go in deep into, like, you know, VCT pro level. I didn't flash at the perfect time for my teammate. You know, shit like that most of the time is not going to matter. Find your level that will be in between this. Like, for instance, now, right? Like, a silver Sage, I could say to this silver Sage, hey, when you're coming through garage here, like, this is a good wall opportunity, right? This is a wall opportunity. Now, when you're coming onto the site, you could run CT, and that's a wall opportunity after you've planted the spike. You know, this is a wall opportunity that you use, you know, and that's fine, but we probably had slightly better ones earlier on, right? We're talking like baby steps here, right? Now you've got two slows. Now you're getting hit by Util. Your reaction should be, you know, where are they coming from? Can I slow? People are breaking the segments of the wall. Can you slow that, right? You know they're coming out CT. You know, is there a slow there available? You know, stuff like this, right? Which, again, to most of you guys is going to be fucking obvious. Don't know what's happening with the VOD there. I'll be like, yeah, fucking no shit, Sherlock, right? Like, yeah, cheers. But, as we see, unlucky. But the thing is, you guys need to find kind of that balance of, like, where are you in relation to, you know, this Sage versus LaRock, right? Because you're probably going to fall in the middle, and you probably want to find, like, what's the level of specific that's actually going to be useful to you. Because it's no point, you know, fucking getting deep into the weeds, you know, for no reason. As again, we see a slow up. Do we need to throw it there, right? Again, is there going to be a better slow up available? Okay, nice heal. Cool. You now have res, right? So we've now got res. Is there a res available? Your ends up TPing and dying across the map. Probably not for that one. But again, hey, look. We did what we should have probably done in some of these other rounds, right? We're walling off, you know, before we plant. Cool, good. We now have a slow. We now have a heal. And to be honest, from this point on, let's just pretend, you know, this Sage was a higher level, right? Like, what's the kind of stuff that we would be saying, you know, to the Sage? I don't think this round much is going to happen, to be honest, as we get a knife kill. Yeah, nothing really happens there, so we're into the next one. We're 0-6, unlucky, but it is what it is. It's fine. No bother. right? The next thing is we throw a slow orb here out towards this again. This wall, right? This res. Okay, we get a res off. Our jet lives because we walled off. Do we need to wall this off, right? We've got 3 players here with us. They've got a neon with an op. Right, again, this is a silver sage, so of course they're going to wall it off. But, you know, if you were in this situation, because this is the thing, I think it's a pretty normal reaction from most sages to just, I'm rezzing, therefore I'm walling. But one thing that I think a lot of people get wrong with sage is, like, if you res this guy and he dies, but you kill the guy who kills him, that's amazing. Like, that's, your ult is a kill. If at any time an ult, if you raise ult someone and killed them, you'd be like, that was a good ult. Well, if you sage res someone and it ends up going, the guy dies, or even you die, but they live. If one of you dies, but the other one kills them, that's still fine. And when you've got teammates here as well, obviously the stun makes it perhaps a bit more dangerous here, this particular instance, but we've just shut ourselves off from going short, essentially, by doing this wall. Of course, we do get the res. It's okay. I'm not going to say it's necessarily terribly wrong here, right? It's not like the worst thing in the world. But I think a lot of people get the sage res wrong, where it's like, if I res this guy and he dies, somehow I'm, you know, Hitler, you know, and it's like, what am I doing? Anyway, our sage is dead, so let's skip ahead here to the next round. Okay, so this one, we only got 1 slow orb. Let's take a look at what we're going to just do. A B exec, run in. Hey, we're walling off before we're planting again. So again, if I was talking to the sage, I'd be like, yep, this is all fine and dandy. You know, in fact, there are a couple moments, I'm not sure if this round is one of them. There's a couple moments in this VOD where I was like, this guy's Silver. He does play with his teammates better than a lot of players that you'll see at higher ranks, to be honest. You know, willing to go in. We get a bit lost here. It's a sage. You're Silver. Whatever. Cool. You know, whatever. You win the round. You walled off before you planted, though, so that was good. But there was one thing. Oh, I was hoping it was this round. Maybe it wasn't this round. Okay, we were just going to do a CX. No, it's the next round. Okay. So we got the heal off. Again, can we wall? You know, do we have a chance to wall? No, we don't know what we're doing. Oh, are we going to wall? No, we end up dying. Okay, so let's talk about Sage in general now as well. Because this, for me, I always think with Sage, when it comes to Sage and playing Sage, is MDA. Not MDMA, MDA. Most dangerous area. And I would say your most dangerous area, if you are playing Haven, attack side, coming C, Garage. Garage is your most dangerous area. The reason it's more dangerous than CT for me is because you can be chilling back here and, you know, those people still can't see you. They can't kill you straight away, right? When someone just comes out of Garage, if you're looking the wrong way, like, you're insta-dead, right? You can be dawdling about back here or back on C long or whatever. If they come out of CT, it don't fucking matter, right? This is your most dangerous area, generally speaking. If you've got Garage control, it's not. But if you don't have Garage control, this, I would say, is more dangerous, and it's easier. It's going to be easier to wall off this and focus CT as a team than it is probably the other way around. And this comes first as well. Right, so it's kind of like one of those things of like, this comes first. So I would say you want to wall off what kind of comes first. Because there's probably, if you haven't taken any Garage control, right, but you've come onto the site, probably someone in there, right? A lot of the time there will be, or at least, you know, getting there soon. And I think, you know, obviously, I get we're trying to avoid this overall. It is what it is, right? But I always think, what's your most dangerous area? If you were doing a VOD review as a Sage, you know, I'd be going through the map and be like, in each situation, every time you do a site exec, just think like, what's the most dangerous area? What's the place that comes first? Where are people most likely to come out first that might kill me right now? Right, and I would say that's probably where you want to wall off this. Euro actually wins this clutch. Okay, this next one, this one's probably a bit of a slightly higher level thing, which is this slow orb, right? Now again, this slow orb, this isn't VCT, but if it was, every time we've used a slow orb towards A short, which is again a perfectly fine slow orb, every time we've come A. Every time. Right? This has happened like 4 or 5 times now. Every single time the team has been defaulting A. Right? So if, I mean, this again is just like a match that doesn't matter too much, but if they were paying attention, they would notice this. right? They would notice, and it's like very obvious, right? So you can do obviously a couple things with that. You could run this as a fake, and have this slow be down here and maybe send a smoke somewhere towards A, and it would probably be pretty effective if they are doing that. But again, if we're talking about specific like VOD reviewing, particularly at higher levels, you want to be looking for stuff like that, right? Look for tells. Do you have tells? Are you doing the same thing and it always means the same thing, or do you have different ideas? When you go for certain bits of utility, particularly on attack side, right? And like when you're defaulting, is it always looking the same or whatnot? Here we see another example of like, we don't fully have the site secure, but we do eventually manage to get this wall down, so it hasn't cost us, let's say. And again, could we use a slow, right? Could we slow heaven? Could we slow our feet now that the wall is destroyed again, right? This again would be the kind of things I'd be saying, to the sage that, hey, we managed to get a kill. We're on the fucking board. Let's go. And yeah, eventually, do we win this round? No, unlucky. But yeah, if I was talking to the sage, like attack side there, it would be, can we find more ways to use the utility? Can we learn maybe a C lineup, right? A little slow orb C lineup. That would be quite nice for those CXX, right? Make sure we're walling the most dangerous areas and probably doing it before we plant. But again, obviously the level of feedback is going to be different from, if I'm talking to La Rock, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? I'm going to be like the Gordon Ramsay, right? Like, you fucking donkey, compared to, a Silver Sage, oh dear, oh gorgeous, oh, it's going to be different levels. It's not going to be exactly the same. Okay. Let's go forward here into the defense side. And you're going to see this a lot, right? You're going to see this wall garage. Again, it's a Silver Sage. Now, in this instance, they're doing a C-split, right? So actually, walling garage in this instance, perfect, right? No problem. Absolutely fine. If they're doing a C-split and you wall garage, like, yeah, that's good, right? Like, that's perfect. It didn't end up working, but your team did end up winning the round. So, that's all good. But let's take a look at this next one. So again, they're going to push into towards garage. This time we don't wall it off straight away. And we end up kind of hiding behind that corner and then losing that fight right there. Now, I'm sure, again, most of you playing Sage, if you were in this spot, you're thinking, if you get flashed here, insta, slow, feet, right? You know that you were looking at the door. Get your slow out, throw it down, have it at their feet. They can't come in. You live, you survive. You don't end up in kind of a bad spot, essentially, with two people, right on top of you, right? Not ideal. Not what you want. Yeah, or even wall, right? I mean, in that instance, you probably don't want to wall because your omen is there too. Just wall them off, kill them. Maybe not the best idea, but this is going to be a little thing as well for the sage that I would probably tell them is, hey, like, anytime you feel like I'm getting stunned, I'm getting flashed, I'm in a lot of trouble, use that visual memory of yours, that short-term memory, to understand where you were before that, and, get that slow orb out, right? Get it out of your feet, get it going. So we can skip forward in that one. I don't think any util was used, just on an eco there. Again, looks like we're going to go for this sage wall. And of course, again, little like team play thing here, right? If you want to go for this wall, right, you're a Silver Sage. If you're a Silver Sage watching this and you want to go for this wall, I'll tell you a breach not to just chill in garage. And he's now watching nothing as well, right? And now he's just, I guess he's staring at a wall to stun for short, which is cool. Good for you. It's not doing that much, right? Okay, that slow is actually fine. We're getting some pressure in towards B. Make sure they don't walk in here. That's absolutely fine. I think eventually it's going to be a little A hit out here. And again, obviously, if we were like high leveling this, we'd be saying like, is there a sage lineup for this retake? I'm sure there is. That we can know, to put it wherever the fuck we want it to go, right? But we don't end up using it there. But again, here we go. We're just going to wall off garage again, looks like, just there. And I think it's probably a good time as well, because we are going to see this quite a lot, this wall garage. I thought I'd just quickly talk to you about like why, like, sage walls for me, and why sage walls are kind of extremities is where I would say you want to put sage walls. Now, in general, that's kind of a general tip. It doesn't always work for every map in every situation, but generally I would say extremities are better for stuff like sage walls. The reason that I say that is because when you wall like garage in here, right? Well, let's think about what that does, right? So they can't come into garage. Whilst this wall is up, we know that they cannot be in here. That's great. They can't be here. We have closed off one of the lanes. However, let's think about our defensive setup in that situation, because of course we know there's 5 lanes here, right? On Haven, it's a 5-lane map. So we wall off number 4 here, door number 4, it's closed. You're not coming in. Let's say they don't break the wall, right? So now we've just got these 4 lanes instead. Well, in these 4 lanes, what can we choose to do? Well, we could choose to have our now free player who would normally be watching garage. Well, they could come across over here instead, right? And be playing with these. And essentially we can create potentially a 4 people here for 3 lanes, which is good, right? Love that. Love that for us, right? That's great. But this guy here on C is still 1 guy for this whole lane, right? And now we've actually walked away from them. So this guy is really on our own, right? So we're basically playing retake C at that point. Or we could say, okay, well, I'm going to come across here then instead, and we're going to have 2 people on C. Great. Now if they come C, we're in a good spot. We can hopefully hold the site. But now we've just got 3 players for these lanes, right? So now we're on 3 for 3 lanes. So again, kind of similar thing where if we get caught out, maybe not the best for us because we've got 3 for 3. Right, so unless basically we have a lobby control, and again, right, this is like how defensive basics 101, right? Like of Haven is you want to take a lobby, because what that means is you get 1 person here watching this, and that means you've got 4 people for the other 3 lanes, right? The basics of defense Haven, right? Get 1 person up here watching this, 4 people for the rest of the map, good spot, right? Because by the time that 1 guy, if they get pushed back, you've got time to rotate across and get there as well. Right, this is how macro of Haven 101. Right, but with this sage wall, basically you're putting yourself in a conundrum either way that you go, that you're basically guessing, right? You're guessing and hoping that you pick the right side to have the kind of better side essentially, right? Whereas if let's take a map like Bind, which is a bit of a different map, because of course when it comes to Bind, there is no mid, right? So when it comes to Bind, if we walled off shower, right, we get what we want, right? As long as they don't break this wall in shower, if we put it here, well, we can now put 2 people on this lane, and we're going to have 3 people for these 2. Great, right? Anywhere they go, we've got decent numbers, right? Now, Bind is a bit of a different map, and it's a reason why, agents like Sage and Deadlock are better on Bind, is because you can do this pretty much anywhere. You could put a wall in hooker here as well, and have the same thing, right? You can now have 2 people for this 1 lane, and you can have 3 for these 2, right? So we're in a good spot. As long as this wall doesn't get destroyed, we're in a good spot, right? So you can see, on a map like Bind, using that wall in situations, we're not guessing, we're in a good spot. As long as that wall doesn't get destroyed, we're in a decent spot. We've got good numbers across the whole map at that point, right? Whereas for a map, like Haven, it's a bit trickier because, again, and we're going to see other walls here later on where it's well, if you wall this off, that's fine, it's okay, but you've still, do you leave 1 person here? Because this is potentially a lot of space to give up. It's just a bit awkward, right? If the barrier, for whatever reason on C, started up here, right, and you could fucking wall this off, right? If the defensive barrier started up there and it was safe to do, I'd be oh, this is a fucking great wall, right? Because not a lot of people default properly over towards C, and so this wall will stay up a lot, and then you could just fucking have all 5 people for 4 lanes. Great. Right? But unfortunately, the way Haven is designed, that's not the case. So you can see some of the problems that you're gonna have, and with this sage wall in garage in general, of just it's probably not gonna give you a ton because you're gonna be guessing, right? And obviously doing it at the start of a round, it's not always a bad idea, but of course I would say, you want to be waiting until the wall is a very impactful ability. You want to be waiting basically, until that wall is having an impact. Because again, if you're playing against Sage, it's very easy to beat. Just chill. If a Sage is walling at the start of every round, just fucking chill for 40 seconds every round. Just do a little Sudoku on your phone or something whilst you wait. Anyway, So again, we're just going to get, wall. And hey, that time we got flash, and now they're breaking it down heavy, right? So again, throwing in the slow up here, hey, they were breaking down our wall heavy. This is fine, right? Like, this is absolutely fine. This is a good slow as well. We see the pressure from the Omen coming out there. Like, this is good. We get a kill from it, right? Like, I would, like, say our Sage Util this round won us the round. That's like, they were going for a fast C split. We walled them off. We double slowed them. We fucked them. Great. Perfect. Ideal. And with the meta going the way that it is more recently, Sage, for that reason, getting better. Okay, next one here. We're a bit late coming out of this one, so we don't go for any wall early garage, and maybe our opponents pick up on that because they pressure it a bit, and now we're a bit unsure, and now we're in a kind of a weird spot, and all of a sudden 4 people are on this side of the map, right? It's like, ooh, now there's gaps, now there's problems. We end up dying there. So again, be present at the start of rounds. It matters when you're playing certain agents. This time we're just going to wall short. Again, this is a common, popular wall that, a lot of people will do. And again, they start breaking it. And so you see our reaction here. And again, it's like a classic, silver level. I'm sure any of you, potentially some of you might even remember being back in silver. And you'll see this play a lot, right? Wall goes down. Part of it gets destroyed. Insta throw a slow up, right? Then we're just chilling here. We're a bit unsure. We don't really know. Are they close? We don't know. We're just sending another slow up in there. It's tough here. What do we do? Don't know. We also have a defensive res online. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. But you can see, just like, did our Util find value there? I don't really know, right? I couldn't really tell you. It seems very unsure. We end up getting kind of tricked by that Omen ult into the breach being on site. Kind of crazy. But yeah, let's just kind of get through as we, again, wall off garage here. Again, the slow, perfectly fine. And again, when we've got this setup, anytime they have gone C, and tried this kind of C split, we've done a decent job, actually, of being able to stop it, right? Our Util here has been pretty good, it must be said, as this Sage. Now, one thing I will say, let's talk about the ult whilst we watch this round. Because this is a problem that even VCT teams have, and it fucking drives me insane. That anytime they have Sage defensive res, they don't find spots to use it, right? As they were about to get ulted here. So we've gone for this Sage roll. We've tucked ourselves in this corner, but we're about to get breach ulted, right? So we're not playing around the ult. It is what it is. We're not too worried about that. We're focusing on our utility. Again, we're getting fucked. Can we slow our own feet? I understand you might not want to reveal where you are. You get Sova died. Unlucky. Let me just talk about the ult again. So Sage res defense side is pretty shit because most people don't find a chance to use it. We're not even going to use it at all in this game, right? So how do I see defensive Sage wall, Sage res, right? Defensive Sage res, I would always say, as soon as you've got it online, do a little like contact peek out mid as a team and have your Sage just be like the last person to go out. Like, literally get everyone, get all 5 players, contact walk out silently at some point in the round, and just go from there, right? And you'll probably go 1 for 1, 2 for 2, but with a Sage res, and your whole team is there to defend the res after the fact, you should be good. And it annoys me so much that teams, don't try these more like proactive, aggressive plans, when Sage res is online, because they just hold on to this defensive ult for the whole fucking half. And maybe never even use it. And it's like, what are we doing? Right? What the fuck are we doing? So yeah, if you ever have a defensive Sage res online, call some kind of contact walkout mid. Right? Call some kind of aggressive round. Here again, we've walled short, which actually when they're doing a B exec, like, this would kind of be a cooking wall, actually, for, maybe a VCT round to stop any lurk. But there is no lurk in this one, I don't think. And I think they are actually going to end up losing this game. Unlucky here at the end. But yeah, obviously for a Silver Sage, you're saying again, in certain instances, retake B wall, very, very strong, right? So you'd probably want to be saying, hey, you don't need to Sage wall at the start of every round. I know that all of you already know that, of course, because, of course you do. And, there are obviously things for this Sage, that you could learn. And obviously there's a lot in the game in general that this Sage could probably learn as well. But hopefully through that you've seen that, like, you can go through a VOD, and of course I'm talking and kind of pausing it and going through it. Like, it doesn't take forever. We just went through two like full almost 24 round games. It doesn't take forever to do it if you're specific on stuff. And I'm sure having watched some of those games, you subconsciously you will have like a general sense of like, you know, other parts of the game as well because you've watched it. So you'll have like a sense of, you know, other things that were going on there. But when you're focusing specific on utility or on whatever it is, crosshair placement. I mean, you could do a whole thing on crosshair placement, literally forward the VOD at 2x speed and just watch where the crosshair is and if it's in a good spot or not, right? Or whether it's on movement and then you just wait for, you know, the moments that you're in fights. Or, you know, whether it's a game sense would be a bit more difficult. Team play would probably take a bit longer as well. But, you know, when you are specific with VOD reviewing, it's really, really going to help pass out actual things that you can get better at, rather than just like generally, oh, like, because I'm sure I could ask all of you right now, like, what do you need to improve on in Valorant, and you could probably all give me an answer, right? You could probably be like, my util isn't the best, or, you know, my aim, you know, my movement isn't that good when I'm in gunfights. I panic when I'm in a gunfight, and, you know, I don't reset my crosshair, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm sure you all could do that, but there are probably levels to that and layers to that of like how true that is, right? Like, I'm sure some of you think I don't win enough of my gunfights, but there's many different things that, you know, could be the cause of that, right? And you're not gonna know unless you like laser in on like, okay, why did I lose this gunfight? Okay, this one was because of my positioning was bad, right? This one actually was before the fight even took place. I just put myself into a bad spot, right? Is that what you're doing consistently? Or is it the fact that when you're actually in, you know, your crosshair placement was no good here, right? Like, there's so many different things that could be going wrong. Valorant is such a like, there's so many things that happen, as I'm sure you're all aware, that like you really need to be specific, because otherwise you're probably not going to actually work on the right thing. And once you find out what your problems actually are, it's probably going to be a bit better. So here's a plan for you, right? What I would do is either record, or if you already have VODs, great. Go and record and watch 3 or 4 VODs of your gameplay and analyze different ones for different aspects of the game, right? And try not to, I would say try and pick kind of, you know, decent games, or, you know, maybe like okay games. Don't pick your best fucking game that you've ever had and you hit every single shot. It's not going to be that helpful, right? Try and pick like, you know, average games. You had some good moments, you had some bad moments, right? Make sure that you're not all negative with it, right? Notice the good as well as the bad. That's very important. You don't want to make yourself feel like you're shit at the game, because you will be good at some stuff, right? But go back and focus in on one thing, right? Whatever it is, focus in on one thing. And I would say go through like all of the main categories that you think is in Valorant, right? Whatever your vision of the game is, go through 3 or 4 VODs and look at like a specific thing, right? Then, after you've done that, you'll find an area. Find one of those general areas, you know, be it your crosshair placement, be it your fucking, you know, util usage, be it your game sense, be it, you know, whatever it is. Find that, whatever you think, oh, that was my weakest point, and focus in on that. And then in a week or two later, do another VOD review or two of just focusing on, am I getting better at this thing? Or are there, you know, more problems that have come up? Or whatever, right? You know, try and have it to be the same agent, so that, you know, for instance, if you're doing util, you know, you can obviously compare the same agent. It's going to be easier, but I think in general, just have it, if you can get it to be the same agent, same map, you know, great. Because then, you know, it's a very clean comparison of like, there are no other variables. It's you on the same agent, same map, you know, things should be the same. So it will help you, I think, with that as well. And then I would say just like every month or so, you do that same process again of just 3 or 4 VODs, being specific with things every month. What this is, I've just gone through 2 in what, an hour and 20, right? So like, I'm talking maybe it's gonna take you 2 and a bit hours every month. you could probably do that, right? That's like one night of playing, doing this instead, probably. Maybe less than one full night of playing for some of you, I would suspect. Um, you can do that. And if you just do it once a month, you'll notice like this has gotten better. Oh, maybe this is not getting so much better, right? Maybe this has even got a bit worse for whatever reason. It might just be the VOD that you picked, right? That's fine. But it will just it will help you so much just understand. And again, you will know your own level, and you will know, like how specific you need to be, how much, you want to improve, and like how detailed you want to be with it. The more detailed you are, probably like that, the better it's going to be for you, right? Like I would say take notes. You must take notes when you VOD review. You just must take notes. Because otherwise, again, you want to be able to refer back to it at all points. You want to come back the month before and be able to refer back to it and be like, here it says that I was really, really shit, getting into good positions for gunfights. Well, in this VOD, I was never in a bad position. I was always in a position where I could get out, or I made an aggressive choice when I needed to make an aggressive choice, if that was the case. Like, but you need to have those notes to refer back to. Otherwise, again, this is going to be somewhat pointless for you. So just go through a couple VODs, be very specific. And again, you're going to have your own vision of the game and what you think is good in Valorant. And I'm not here to tell you what's good in Valorant, because no one fucking really knows, right? There isn't an AI. There isn't an AI to tell you like, oh, this is actually the best way to play Valorant. No one really knows, right? We have like general ideas based on what pro teams do, but there's probably a lot of inefficiencies that they have as well. In fact, they definitely do. Let me tell you, as someone who's watched a lot of pro VODs, pro teams have a lot of inefficiencies that annoy me a lot of the time. So they haven't fully worked out either. So I'm not going to tell you like exactly like, hey, this, you shouldn't be in this angle because, all these different factors. You might be like, yeah, but what about this, right? Like you figure it out for yourself, whatever you think about the game, but you will be able to notice certain shit by doing this. And as I say, it might be like LaRock. Hey, I'm not using this ability like 80% of the rounds. Fuck. And just that realization of knowing like, hey, okay, find positions to use it. Or like someone said earlier on, like, I'm dying with this bit of utility in my hand all the time, right? And so then your focus is, you need to be able to like find ways of, curbing that back. And then, as I say, once you go through every couple weeks, every month of doing a VOD review, hopefully you'll see like, oh, in this VOD, I died with a shock dart in hand 4 times. In this one, I didn't die at all. Great. I now know that I have, at least somewhat fixed that problem. And if it comes back again when I do it a month later, I'll know that I can fix it because, I can focus back on it again, right? Hopefully that was somewhat useful. If not, unlucky, I guess, because that's it. You got what you got. If anyone wants any questions, type them in the chat now. And I will happily sit here.
Thank you for the class.
No problem.
Thank you.
What are some other aspects of the game we should focus on what some players miss? So, I mean, again, this kind of, again, comes down to kind of a philosophical thing of what you really think. But I would say, like, areas, like, big, like, key areas of Valorant, right? I would say are your utility usage, of course, as we did today. You can mix in, like, gunfights. How you want to approach your gunfights is somewhat up to you, right? Like, you could really break it down into like crosshair placement, movement, positioning. Like you could go very detailed on that if you wanted to. You could, if you wanted to, kind of group it all together if that's what you want to do. That's kind of up to you. I would say game sense is one that, it is going to be. So for game sense, you can look at like when you were rotating, what you'll probably have to listen to the VOD to see what information you were getting from your teammates, if any, right? But focusing on that. If you're talking more like team oriented, if you're working for like a team and you want to focus on more of like a team view of things, then there's a couple things. One thing I would say is if you're part of a team, you should tell every single individual player they need to be doing this for themselves, right? Like they need to go through their VODs, watch their VODs, figure their own shit out, right? Like that's just a bare minimum. And in fact, I don't know what Neil said in his like team thing, but I hope he said like if a player just isn't willing to work at a certain level, like they're not worth keeping on a team. Right? Like you have to have a certain level of work ethic, and like that would be in there for me of like they have to be willing to go through their own fucking VOD and figure their individual shit out on their own, right? In terms of a team thing though, of course you can think about like your execs. You could talk about execs and retakes maybe as like again like one kind of thing, like an attack side and a defense side of it. But your defensive setups, your so you could have like defensive setups is like one for defense, right? Then you've got like your defaults for attack. You've maybe got some like alt set plays as a team as well that you might want to cook up and look at. A communication. This is the thing, like you might want to do one if you're in a team. You might want to do one where you literally don't even watch the VOD. You just listen to a VOD. And you decide, is this too chaotic? And in fact, I think that's a pretty interesting way of looking at like reviewing something, right? Just have it play and like go on a walk and have it in your headphones and see how much people are talking. You'll instantly be able to notice people are talking too much here. People aren't talking enough. Why has it been silent for 20 seconds, right? Like you'll be able to notice those kind of things. I think even perhaps more so without even watching it, and then you could put it together. So there's a ton of different areas that you could. Yeah, if you're doing it for game sense, I mean, yeah, you can just do it for when you're alive. If you're only focused on yourself, as soon as you die, as long as you're not doing communication, which is another one that you could do, right? Like, how is your communication game? Because obviously, when you're dead, you are still communicating, right? But again, you can kind of skip through and see when you're talking, essentially, right? For that one. But yeah, once you're dead for game sense, yeah, you can kind of leave that out. But what you'll probably do for a game sense one is focus heavy on clutches, right? Anytime you're in a clutch, absolute like must like take a look at it deeply and like realize like what information did you actually have in that round? What did you not? All that kind of stuff. What were your teammates telling you? All that kind of stuff. But you also want to like basically you want to be noticing stuff on your map. You'll probably do a lot of mini map watching on the game sense one because that's where a lot of kind of the information comes from. Obviously you'll hear stuff as well in the VOD that you'll need to notice. Maybe you'll do a specific VOD review of game sense and realize that you're actually deaf in one ear, and it's like I keep hearing these noises on my right, but I'm not reacting. Maybe I'm deaf in an ear. Maybe that's the way you'll find out. But yeah, some of them will be longer than others. Game sense is probably one of them that would be a bit longer than others. But yeah, again, don't go crazy over it. This is a way of getting better, but don't go crazy. Have fun most of all. Valorant is a game for most of you, I'm sure. I'm not sure if any of you are trying to go big time in the world, but for most of us, of course, it is just a game. But yeah, if there's any more questions, I'll take them. But if not, class dismissed, as they say. Val equals life.
Thanks again
No
for
problem.
the class.
Yeah, thank you.
The videos, have a good one.
Thank you.
Peace
Can't
out,
wait to see you
guys.
boil up. Never gonna happen. Some of the people won't get the joke, but it's fine.
What's it called? In terms of like feed,